Alongside Brent Hubbs, I'm Austin Price. I'm not even calling it the 2-minute drill because this is going to be a while. Just go ahead and
settle in.
Pull up a chair. Tennessee has the orange and white game. Nico Iamaleava not here. Josh Heupel afterwards, I thought, handled himself very graciously. Thanked Nico for his time. Also said that no one person is bigger than the program, and went on to say that he knew that, Nico, wasn't going to be his quarterback anymore when he no-showed for Friday for practice. So, whether, whoever made the decision, one on whichever side you're listening to, it was obvious when you no-show for a practice, you're not going to be here.
Yeah, let me start with Josh Heupel. And Josh Heupel is the king of word salad. Yeah. He loves to have a press conference where he's very nice, he's very cordial, and you get to the end of it, you go, I don't really have anything to write out of that. He was fantastic in addressing this today. Demeanor was terrific. He was poised. He was calm. He took all questions. Only one time did he say, hey, I'm not going to get into all the details, which I get, but he answered every question thoroughly, and I thought handled himself terrifically with the media. I think that is a carryover to how he's handled himself with his staff Friday afternoon and with his team Saturday morning when he said, we're moving on. We've got enough. Let's go compete and let's go play. We'll see where that goes from there. But I thought the tone of Josh Heupel the last 48 hours has been impressive, and it's what a leader's supposed to do. I'm not saying, wow, you did something nobody else did. When you make $9 million a year and you're in charge of this program, moments like this, you're supposed to rise everybody else. You're supposed to be the guy to raise the boat, and he did, and he has.
Well, I asked him specifically, who's the leader on the offensive side of the ball? First name out of his mouth, Miles Kitselman, who clearly has some feelings about what has transpired over the last 24 to 48 hours. A couple of times side-eyed Bill Martin, the Tennessee Sports Information Director, kind of bit his tongue a few times, but basically said, listen, like, we want people who want to be at Tennessee. That's who we want here. And so, he and Arion Carter are clear the representatives for the team.
Sure.
And, they both were adamant, we want the guys that are in this room. We like this team. They kept saying, we like this team.
Right.
And that's something Josh Heupel's talked about. So, what does it all mean for the fall? Who knows? Tennessee's going to be the underdog a lot. Mm-hmm. I mean, no one's going to talk about this team. They'll be picked, bottom half of the league, maybe even at SEC Media Days, and that's okay. Tennessee seems to have always been better as the underdog, and we'll kind of see where it goes. But, considering the circumstances, Tennessee, I think, kind of won the day in a lot of ways.
Well, their messaging was very clear, and their messaging is, we're Tennessee, we're bigger than one person. This program's long been bigger than one person. That message resonated throughout the day when you talk to former players, when you talk to current players, you talk to Josh Heupel. That was very clear. I think the other thing that was very clear to me, Austin, is this became crystal clear, cut and dry for everybody in the locker room, and I think everybody in the complex on Friday when Nico did not show up.
Yep.
Had he shown up and maybe some things were going on behind the scenes, maybe it's a little different. But when he did not come to work,
ripped the Band-Aid off his head.
That ripped the Band-Aid off. And you know what? I think that's the galvanizing point. Now, the question becomes, how long does that galvanizing point carry? Does that last you all summer long? Does that carry you the way you want to? Because here's the thing, in the world we're living in now, in the locker room, everybody's phone's going to start ringing if it hasn't already rung. Yeah. Hey, you sure you want to stay? Hey, you sure you want to do this? Hey, I'm your agent. I can get you here. I can try to get you here, this type of thing. Does everybody stay galvanized the way their emotions have galvanized them, it feels like, over the last 24, 36 hours?
Yeah, there's that period of time when things happen in your life, whether it's, a birth, a death, whatever, right? That all of a sudden, all the extended family members go home, and it's just you.
Mm-hmm.
And where are you? What do you want to do when things get quiet? Yep. And that's going to be where we are. It's going to be quiet in terms of, like, the overall scheme, but it's going to be loud with a lot of external factors in their ears.
And that's where the leadership it comes to the forefront. Guys like Kitselman, Arion Carter, you better stay in contact with guys, right? You better communicate with them. You better make sure everybody is staying good and where they need to be. You can't just say, okay, we're good. All right, we all got together, we all rallied and said, yeah, let's storm the castle, we're good, and let's go. That's not the world we're living in this day and age. So it'll be interesting to see what happens the next 7 to 10 days as the portal window opens and all of those things. But as for today, Tennessee's messaging was very clear, and I think their messaging was the right tone, the right tenor, and the right messaging. I won't say to win today, because nobody wins today, in my opinion, with this story. I don't think this is a winning deal for either side, but I think Tennessee created the narrative they needed to create today.
As for the orange and white day, or however you want to say it,
practice.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing you take if you're a fan is half the team wasn't out there, right? So I mean, like most of your key players weren't out there. Kitselman wasn't out there. Aaron Carter wasn't out there. You can keep going right down the list.
Right.
David Hobbs and so on and so forth. Caleb Herring, they weren't there. So like, I don't think you can take a lot from today, but you can take away individual performances. I mean, Jack Van Dorselaer showed up a few times. He got 3 touchdowns. It's like the David Yancey of the tight end position.
He's your MVP today.
Radarius Jackson had a couple. I mean, and made some plays. But there's a youth factor to this football team, which is what we've all talked about. There's an unknown, and you're not going to know again until you line up against somebody else besides yourself. But there's I think a little bit of hope, excitement. All those are kind of adjectives I would use to describe some of these young players.
Yeah, and listen, I don't put any real stock in the quarterbacks today. Okay,
Me neither.
Their world got turned upside down
more than anybody else. They don't do anything what they do.
They're vanilla. Everything for them has been a whirlwind. Like, okay, what does this mean now? I mean, all of that stuff. But when you look at individuals, and the thing that you keep coming back to is, hey, who made that play? Freshman. Hey, who made that play? Redshirt freshman. Who made that play? Young player, young player, young player. Now, the challenge and the question is, and Josh Heupel's message to those young players has been very clear. You can't be young come August.
Yeah.
You've got to go. You have to go. And so I think the challenge from here moving forward is who has it in them to go and really build off this and not wait. David Sanders has gotten better throughout all of spring practice. Does he continue on that track all summer long? Radarius Jackson, I think we both agree, has exceeded expectations of a lot of people, and certainly my expectations, on how well he sort of adapted and grasped things moving forward in this offense. Where does he go from here? How much more does he get? The off-season work that this team and the youth on this team has to do is vital. And that's where the leadership's going to come into play, because somebody has to make sure those guys aren't just relaxing. Because if you're a high school player, you're not used to the workload you're getting ready to have all summer long. You have summer workouts in high school, and coach gives you Friday off or whatever. I mean, this is an everyday grind, and those guys have to grind the right way, and the leaders have to make sure that there's no corners cut.
Orange and White Saturday, it's my favorite day of the year. Why, Hubs? Because I get to see a lot of former Vols, and for a guy who has known most of them since high school, same as you back in the day.
It's so awesome.
It is awesome because, I mean, like, the guys, I mean, like, they just light up. I mean, like, it's like, oh, man. And then, like, there's hugs. And, I mean, like, it is like Gerald Williams, Vlad Richard.
Who finally made it here?
I told Gerald Williams, he's the original portal guy from Fork Union, San Francisco Community College, right on to Tennessee. But I mean, it was a lot of guys: Malik Foreman, Danny O'Brien, Eric Berry, and it's just not your superstars.
No,
it's guys that, like, I mean, that Omar Gaither.
It's Dan Williams.
Yep.
It's so many guys who put their heart and soul and poured their heart and soul into this program. And in talking to those guys today, they will remind you this place is special for the rest of your life.
Yep.
And you treat it that way, and you understand the people that laid the groundwork before you, and you respect it. And that message was heard loud and clear by everybody you spoke with today who played here.
I told Dylan Sampson on the sideline, I said, Dylan, every year you come back, it will become more special for you. You're still so fresh, having your career just end. But I said, you see these guys that have been out for 10, 15, 25 years, and because fans remember them. So it's like a turn back the clock for them, and it's a special deal. And it's why it's my favorite day of the year. I love seeing all the old guys come back. I think it's fantastic. They're not even old, but I mean, it's fantastic.
And it's a reminder today, in everything that you're dealing with today, that no one player is bigger than the program. And when you see all the former players that are here, what it means to them, what the program means to them, it is a reminder. It's not about an individual. I mean, it's not. It's about the entire program, and I think that's the takeaway from today for fans, for former players, current players, the head coach, and we'll see how this team builds on that moving forward.
As Aaron Carter said, at Volquest, you're all we've got, you're all we need, Hubs. That's a look back, and we recap the day, Tennessee's orange and white day here at Neyland Stadium.